to Fairfax County Public Schools Post-Secondary Virtual Night event. My name is Saida Ananga Yamyulia, and I am the program support for our CSP program, that is College Support Program. I will be the moderator for this session titled NOVA, the Community College Option. Before we begin, I want to share a few pieces of information regarding tonight's session. Please note that this session is pre-recorded. During the presentation, contact information will be given where to direct any questions you may have concerning any of the information presented during this webinar. At this time, I'll turn it over to our wonderful presenter, Colin Alford from Nova Community College.
Thank you so much. Appreciate the opportunity to be with everyone and excited that you are here to discover NOVA. My name is Colin Alford. I am an outreach and recruitment coordinator based at our Annandale campus, and I am going to share some information, general information about NOVA, as well as information about our programs of study and how to get started at NOVA as well. So we are one of the largest community colleges in the United States and the largest in the Virginia Community College system. We are comprised of more than 70,000 students who enroll annually and have over 3,400 faculty and staff members. We are one of the most internationally diverse colleges in the United States, with students and staff from more than 180 countries. We have six campuses that are located across the region, plus our expansive Nova Online division. We offer more than 115 associate degree and certificate programs that prepare students to transfer or go directly into the workforce. We also offer professional development opportunities through our continuing education courses and certifications. We really do strive to meet the educational and training needs of individuals with differing abilities, education, experiences, and individual goals through a variety of curricular and co-curricular programs and community services. Many of our programs are available on all of our campuses, although some highly specialized programs are offered at only one or two campuses. And we'll show you a slide a little later in the presentation that gives that breakdown. All of our campuses offer a comprehensive array of student and academic services. We have our Nova Online division offers students with the opportunity to take the same classes that are offered on our campuses, but in a different format. Nova Online courses may be completed at home, while stationed abroad, or on the road. Our Nova Online offers 19 different associate programs and certificate programs that can be completed from start to finish, completely online. As you will see on the slide, our average class size is about 25 students, so your students will not be sitting in a classroom with 100 to 200 to 300 people that they don't know. They're going to be very similar to the class sizes that they are used to in high school. This provides the opportunity for students to not only have more direct interaction with their professors, but also get to know their peers in the classroom. You will also see on the slide that about 70% of our students are enrolled part-time. We recognize that many of our students have competing priorities, meaning they may need to work while they are going to school, they may be a caregiver, they themselves may be parents. So we do not have a requirement that students enroll at Nova full-time. We do charge tuition by the credit hour versus by the entire semester. The average age of our student is also a little on the younger side at 22. However, that doesn't mean that there may not be someone in their classes who's in their 30s, 40s, 50s, or even 70s or 80s. About 20% of our students are first generation students, meaning that they are the first person in their family to attend college. We also have a large number of students who are the first person in their family to attend college in the United States. We're very proud of the fact that we have a large number of academic and student resources to help students and families navigate this process. Everyone who applies to NOVA is admitted to NOVA. We are very affordable. We're about the quarter of the cost of most four-year colleges, and we have multiple session start dates that students can take advantage of as well. Going to talk a little bit about our dual enrollment programs. Our dual enrollment classes allow high schools and juniors and seniors mostly to earn high school and college credit simultaneously. We do teach these classes at the local high schools, or they can be taken through NOVA. If students take advantage of the classes taught at their high school, those classes substitute, if you will, for a class that would be in their normal high school day schedule. Two of the most popular classes that students take as dual enrollment are our English 111 and 112. Those classes would substitute for senior English. So students are earning college credit and satisfying high school graduation requirements simultaneously. Students have the opportunity to take classes as well through our early online college. This allows students to take tuition-free college courses in that online asynchronous format. When we say asynchronous format, what that means is that there are not specific days or times that these classes meet. Students are provided the syllabi, any materials that they need, whether it is a lecture recording they need to watch, or a article or textbook reading that they need to do, and then they need to submit their assignments online by the due date. So while there is limited interaction with the professor, they do have contact with that professor. Those professors do have office hours and are available to assist students in any way that they may need. Our independent dual enrollment option are for high school students who can take classes independently. Students who enroll in independent dual enrollment are responsible for paying the tuition and fees for these classes. But the independent dual enrollment students who take advantage of independent dual enrollment are students who typically are taking classes during the summer. Most of the courses that students can enroll in through dual enrollment, early online college, or independent dual enrollment can be transferable courses. Again, it just depends on the courses that they are enrolling in. As I mentioned, we have over 115 different programs of study, and what we've done is basically divide all those programs into two buckets, if you will. So on the left side of your screen, you'll see our transferable degrees. These are our Associate of Arts, Associate of Science, and Associate of Fine Arts degrees. These courses, or these programs rather, the courses in these programs are designed to seamlessly transfer to four-year colleges and universities for a student to complete their bachelor's degree, whether it's a Bachelor of Arts or a Bachelor of Science. The courses that students take in these programs are very similar to the courses they are currently enrolled in high school: English, math, history, science, foreign language, and then electives. For these programs, those electives will also include the foundational courses for that student's major. For example, if a student is pursuing a business management degree, they are going to take accounting 1 and 2. They're going to take my principles of microeconomics, principles of macroeconomics, a business statistics class, and something like introduction to business, introduction to marketing. So there are about 6 to 8 of those foundational courses. The opposite is true for our career technical programs. In these programs, the Associate of Applied Science, just to kind of compare apples to apples here, the bulk of the classes that students take are in the subject area that they are pursuing. The courses in these programs are designed to prepare students to go directly into the workforce, and we've worked very closely with business and industry to ensure that the skills that the classes that our students are completing meet the skills that business and industry need. The Associate of Arts, Associate of Science, Associate of Fine Arts, and Associate of Applied Science degrees are designed for students to complete in 2 years if they are attending school full time. Now, if you remember, I said most of our students are not going to school full time. So what that means is it may take a little longer for students to complete those requirements. A certificate and career study certificate can take, if a student is attending full time, a certificate would take a student about a year and a half or 3 semesters to complete. Career study certificates take about a year to complete. Excuse me. Excuse me. One of the unique options that students who are completing our career study certificates have is that often these certificates stack into either the certificate or the Associate of Applied Science degree. An example of this I can give you is our accounting certificate. I actually met a young lady who was working for one of the major grocery chains in the area, and she said that she was working in their front office doing bookkeeping and accounting work, and her management team said, you know, if you'll go to back to school or go to school and get a certificate or a degree, we can offer you a promotion and a pay raise. So she was working full time and she decided that, well, you know, I'll start with a career studies certificate in accounting. And so she slowly, methodically worked through completing the requirements for that program, earned the certificate in about a year and a half, and then was offered that promotion and that pay raise. I saw her about a year after she completed her certificate, and she had decided to come back and re-enroll to complete her Associate of Applied Science in Accounting. So since she already had the certificate completed, she had about a year's worth of work completed toward that Associate of Science degree. There are also a large number of our certificates that fall under our information and engineering technology programs like cybersecurity, cloud operations, data center operations, where students can complete that certificate, go out and become gainfully employed, making very competitive salaries, anywhere from $60,000 to $90,000. And then once they are employed, will often have go back to school because their employers offer educational reimbursement. And so they can continue working on, if they want to, an associate degree. This next slide that I'm showing you lists out the different program pathways that we have. It also shows you in parentheses where those programs are primarily taught. As I mentioned at the beginning, you know, some of our programs, our specialized programs, are only taught at specific campuses. While it would be wonderful for us to offer every program from start to finish at every campus, it just not is economically feasible for us to do that. For any student who is interested in our health education programs, whether it is nursing, radiography, diagnostic medical sonography, dental hygiene, those classes, once students are accepted to those programs, are taught at our medical education campus in Springfield. We do want to make note that our medical education programs are a two-step application process. Students apply to the college, are admitted, and then they begin working on prerequisites. Each program has a set of prerequisite courses that students must complete. There sometimes may be observational hours. A lot of the programs require what is called a TEAS exam, TEAS exam, which is a skills exam that students take. And then students make a separate application to the medical program they want to pursue. Because of the prerequisites and this second application, for most medical education students, it does take about a year and a half for students to complete those prerequisites, and then they make an application to the program. Once they start their program, it is typically another 2 years for students to complete those programs in their entirety. We've also made note on this slide that there are a number of the programs that we would normally consider non-transferable. Those, again, programs designed to get students into the workforce. However, we do have a number of articulation agreements with four-year colleges and universities where students can continue on after completing these programs and earn a Bachelor of Arts, a Bachelor of Science, a Bachelor of Interdisciplinary Study, or a Bachelor of Applied Science degrees. For students who are undecided, we also have our General Studies Associate of Science degree. So as I mentioned, we have articulation agreements. We also have a number of guaranteed admissions agreements with over 30 four-year public and private colleges in and outside of the state of Virginia. These agreements ensure admission for students who meet specific criteria, such as completing an associate degree, maintaining a minimum GPA, completing a specific course in a timeline, not repeating a course. These agreements cover a wide range of programs and colleges and universities and allow students to save on tuition costs and pursue their higher education goals. It is the student's responsibility to go through the guaranteed admission agreement for the school they plan to transfer to and make sure that they understand all of the requirements for that school. They can find that specific information on our website, on that respective college and university's website. They can find it on the Transfer Virginia portal. On the bottom of this slide, we are showing you the top 5 transfer institutions for the academic year 2023-2024. George Mason is our top transfer, with them being right out our back door, and the Mason Advanced Partnership, which I'll talk about on our next slide, makes it a very practical choice for students who cannot pick up and move to another part of the state. Madison, Virginia Tech, Virginia Commonwealth, and University of Virginia round out the top 5. With our top 5 transfer institutions, all of these institutions are very generous with their transfer scholarships. Liberty University is pretty popular with the number of online programs that they offer for students. With the Mason Advanced program, this is a partnership that began in 2018 to provide students with a streamlined path toward getting their bachelor's degree. The curricular pathways at NOVA are designed to save students time and money on their way to completing a 4-year degree. When students apply to the Mason Advanced program, they must do so before they have earned less than 30 credit hours. What I mean by credit hours or college credits, you may hear that term units or semester credit hours, is related to a number that is assigned to each course that a student completes. That number correlates to the number of hours that student would typically be in class. So for an English 111 class, or English Composition 1, that course earns 3 credit hours. And that means that a student would be in class about 3 hours a week. They were taking classes on a NOVA campus. So having earned no more than 30 college credits means that they have completed no more than about 10 classes. If a student has enrolled in dual enrollment classes, any dual enrollment class credit they have earned does count toward these 30 semester credit hours. But students who have completed AP or IB credit, those credits do not go against the 30-hour limit. Most students apply for Mason Advance to start in their first semester at NOVA. They can apply once they have registered for their first course to enroll in after they have graduated from high school. So for example, a student who will be graduating in May or June of 2026, when they enroll for classes in the fall of 2026, they then can apply for Mason Advance. They are not going to look at a student's high school GPA for consideration into the program. However, if a student has completed dual enrollment classes, they will look at that GPA. We are very proud of the fact that students who transition through the Mason Advanced program, over 90% of those students do complete their bachelor's degree through George Mason within about 2 years after transferring. The other advantage to students who participate in the Mason Advanced Partnership is that they are a fully admitted Mason Advanced student. They receive a Mason ID card. They have access to all the resources on Mason's campus. Students also work with dedicated pathway coaches to provide continuous support and guidance as they enroll in classes and to make sure that they are staying on track with their degree completion programs. Moving on, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Virginia G3 program. This is a tuition assistant last dollar scholarship for students living in Virginia who qualify for state financial aid, which is based on a high school income threshold. This threshold is much higher than the FAFSA or federal application for financial aid. So there are a higher number of students who potentially are eligible for G3. It is available for select programs in 6 of Virginia's most in-demand industries. These industries include early childhood and secondary education, healthcare, information technology, manufacturing and skilled trades, and public safety. We are also thrilled that this program was expanded to include 7 approved transfer programs. The community college system has worked, again, very closely with business and industry who have said we need highly skilled employees to be able to come in and fill positions. And so with this scholarship, it can bring down the cost of college to zero for eligible students. Every student who is enrolled at NOVA and in a G3 eligible program is reviewed to determine whether or not they are eligible for the G3 scholarship, and it is applied automatically. With this scholarship, they do not want students to have to take student loans to pay for their education. The goal is really to have students be able to have a $0 cost out of pocket. All right. We mentioned briefly about students maybe who've taken AP or IB courses and taken those exams at the end of the term. And all of that, in addition to some other options, falls under what an umbrella we call credit for prior learning. This refers to the academic process that offers students the opportunity to earn college level credit for demonstrated learning and acquired experience from outside the traditional classroom setting, or that credit earned at another college or university from the US or abroad. With IAB and IB credit, students will submit their final, or once their scores are posted, they will submit their score reports, and then that credit will automatically be awarded and placed on their transcript and apply toward their certificate or degree programs. Most have a score minimum. It varies from the different AP or IB classes that they have taken and those exams that they have taken, but students can access that information on our website. CLEP exams are exams that are kind of like an end of course exam or like a final AP or AP or IB exam. Goodness, I'm trying to mix those up this evening. But students do have the option, like for example, if they are a history buff but didn't take AP US history, they could look to take the AP US or the CLEP exam for US history and potentially earn college credit. Credit by portfolio development is typically used for students who have been working in a particular career field. The student that I mentioned earlier, who was working for the grocery chain doing bookkeeping and accounting, actually submitted a portfolio based on the work she was doing in her job, and she was able to receive credit for 3 classes. So she earned 9 credit hours based on the work she was doing in her job. Credit from non-traditional programs typically include professional or corporate training programs, maybe industry credentials and certifications that students have completed, and can include military training that can be reviewed for credit, especially those students who may have completed academy programs where they've earned industry certifications or credentials. Those can be reviewed for credit for their programs as well. If a student has enrolled in dual enrollment classes from another college or university while they're in high school, we can review that for transfer credit as well. Typically, students must earn a C or higher in order to have that credit awarded. So let's talk a little bit about the student support services that we have. With our academic advising team, students are helped on a first-come, first-served basis on campus or virtually. They can either use a live chat or meet in person via Zoom. We do ask that students come prepared with maybe like their proposed class schedule. If they are planning to transfer, having taken a look at the transfer institution they plan to transition to have an idea of the types of courses that they need and come prepared. So the more you know about their end goals, such as that 4-year school and major, makes it easier for the advisor to assist them. Advisors are also a great resource for providing connections to college transfer advisors, information that they can find on their websites, and making sure that students are staying on track and taking the courses that they need. We do also have transfer coaches located at each of our campuses, as well as transfer representatives from Virginia Tech, Mason, James Madison, and VCU assigned to NOVA to specifically work with students who are interested in transferring to those schools. They do travel from campus to campus and are happy to meet with students virtually or in person. Our Accommodations and Accessibility Services Office supports students with disabilities who are embarking on their college journey. They can provide reasonable accommodations, auxiliary aids, and services to students with documented disabilities through an interactive process. Eligibility for services is determined on an individual basis. No academically qualified student with a disability will be denied access to or participation in services, programs, or activities at the college. The biggest difference with accommodations on the college level is that the responsibility for ensuring those accommodations get put into place shifts from the parent and guardian to the student. This doesn't mean that a parent or guardian cannot be involved, but our Office of Accommodations and Accessibility is going to work directly with the student. I do encourage students to have another person with them when they are meeting with accommodations and accessibility, because it is always better to have another set of eyes and ears, because you can't always process and remember everything that goes on in those sessions. So that being said, I do encourage students who currently have a 504 or IEP to continue those services in college. Even if you think you may not need those, it is always better to have them in place than not, and not need them, then realize partway through the semester you need them and scramble to get them put into place. The Accommodations and Accessibility Services website provides step-by-step information on how to apply to services once, and students can do this once they have submitted their application to NOVA. You can also email questions to their office directly, and they will be happy to assist and respond as well. Career Services offers admitted students appointments so that they can work with a career counselor for help learning what are the best strategies to explore career options, develop goals and plans to pursue career opportunities, and to prepare you for employment. They offer a number of career assessments, occupational information, salary trends, goal setting, planning, and employment resources for students on their website. They also host a lot of in-person and virtual events throughout the years. Our Office of Wellness and Mental Health is a hub for students to connect to those resources and services related to wellness and mental health. Students also have access to Timely Care, which is a free telehealth program that provides students 24/7 access to virtual mental health care from anywhere in the U.S. Students can speak with a licensed provider during a secure video visit from a smartphone, laptop, or a computer. And they also have a number of short, helpful videos to deal with stress, creating healthy habits, sleeping, yoga, and a whole lot more. The financial aid offices are located on each campus, and students can visit in person, call, or email with any questions. I will say that their website is a wealth and has a wealth of information, including step-by-step instruction on how to apply for financial aid. Our Financial Stability Office is there to enhance students' capability for academic success by providing personalized service to build strong financial foundations and access to community resources. They also manage our personal care pantry, the Nighthawk Nest, which is available to offer additional support for students, providing essential items for any student who may be facing an unforeseen challenge. If your student or if a student is an dependent of an active duty retired military member, our Office of Military and Veteran Services is there to provide assistance with utilizing VA and tuition assistant educational benefit. If you are a military member who is stationed here in the area, they can also assist with the making sure that your student is granted in-state tuition. Our Office of International Student Services works with any student who is attending NOVA on a student visa. They do encourage appointments, and their contact information can be found on the website. Tutoring support services is available through one-on-one tutoring, small group sessions, and academic workshops. Students can schedule appointments through their Navigate 360 app that is located in their student portal, or they can simply walk into a student tutoring center on campus. If a tutor is available, they will be connected right then and there, or they can schedule an appointment. Additionally, students have the opportunity to access online tutoring called BrainFuse, and this is 24/7 access to live tutoring. They also offer drop-in tutoring that you can connect with a live tutor instantly, schedule a future session. Students can submit essays or papers for review and feedback. They can also save previous tutoring sessions and replay them. NOVA libraries are available virtually, or students can visit on a library on each of our campuses. Our librarians are happy to help students locate that perfect book or research article for their project. They can walk students how to use scholarly research databases to find materials that they need for a project they are working on. Students also have access to an interlibrary loan program where they can borrow materials on site from any participating library. And they also have access to the George Mason Library system where they can borrow materials at no cost. Great Expectations is dedicating to helping Virginia's current and former foster youth access the community college education and successfully transition from higher education to a self-sustaining career. Our parenting student supports understand the unique challenges and triumphs of balancing academic goals with parenting responsibilities. And their goal is to provide the support and resources and community that parents need to thrive both in the classroom and at home. We have vibrant and active campuses. We often get a lot of questions that say, is there anything that goes on NOVA campuses? Absolutely. Our honors program allows students to enrich their study through engaging in rigorous courses. While most of these classes are general education, like English and math, there are some intro-level subject-specific courses, such as Intro to Business, Intro to Psychology, that students can take advantage of. Our honors program offers smaller classroom sizes, seminar-style discussions, leadership and research opportunities, internships, and a wonderful community of learners. For students who are interested in the honors program, they can apply to participate in the honors program as they are incoming students or once they have begun at NOVA. There is a more detailed information on our website about that application process. Students are often surprised to learn that we do offer that study abroad experience, which adds adds a global context rather to their studies, no matter what their program of study is at NOVA. NOVA sponsors programs themselves in South Korea, the Czech Republic, and Scotland. Students also have the opportunity to participate in programs that are offered by Virginia Commonwealth University and George Mason. If a student chooses programs, study abroad programs from VCU or Mason, they do not have to go through an approval process to ensure that the courses they are taking through study abroad will be accepted at NOVA and apply toward their degree programs. We do have a lot, like I said, a lot of activities that go on in our campuses, and we do feel it is extremely important for students to take advantage of the opportunity to become involved. It plays an important part in broadening their college experience, and when students are involved, they not only know what is happening, but why and how it happened. The experience that students acquire by being an active student on campus can be invaluable to them later in life, both personally and professionally. If students are unsure about what major to pursue, one way that they can explore different opportunities is to get involved in the various programs that are offered by Student Life. We have over 150 different clubs and organizations across all of our campus, both virtually and in person. And if we don't have a club or organization that you think other students would be interested in supporting, be the change that you wish to see and start your own with the help of Student Life. A lot of our clubs include different academic, cultural, political, and special interests. We also have a very active student government association that allows students to build leadership skills by being a voice for NOVA students. The Student Government Association aims to represent all students in voicing their concerns, promoting student interest, and advocating for student life and academic concerns to NOVA administration. We also have a vibrant arts and theater opportunities. Students can make art, perform, or visit our galleries and take in theater productions. We also have very active student recreation and wellness programs that provide a variety of different recreation programs across all three areas to help students and faculties thrive and live their best lives. Some of the intramural sports that are offered on campuses are wiffle ball, don't knock it till you've tried it. Same with badminton, 8-ball billiards, 3-on-3 basketball, soccer, tennis, dodgeball, volleyball, ultimate frisbee, cornhole, flag football, indoor soccer, and ultimate football. Our NOVA eSports allows students to engage in competitive gaming at the national level, as well as casual gaming with the local community. Our NOVA eSports teams participate in top organized competitions every year and have won a variety of eSports titles, including Valorant, League of Legends, Overwatch 2, Rocket League, and a whole lot more. Our NOVA Core interns are students helping students. This is an opportunity for students to gain valuable work experience, develop leadership, communication, teamwork, and problem-solving skills that can prepare them for jobs after college. Students apply to our NOVA intern program during their first semester, and they are applying for jobs in the different offices that are located across our campuses. It is a great opportunity for them to network with our NOVA faculty and staff. This paid internship earns students $18 an hour. They do have a flexible work schedule, so their school is still their priority, and we want them to take with the hours that they work, they can work up to 20 hours per week. Some of the offices that students can work in are our various student affairs units, including enrollment services, campus advising, student life, accommodations, accessibility, and more. Students also assist us with our campus tours. All right, moving on to, well, what does it cost to attend NOVA? At the beginning of the presentation, I shared that we are about a quarter the cost of most four-year schools, and we charge our tuition based on the per credit hour. So if you're only enrolling in 2 classes and it's 6 credits, you're only going to pay about $1,300 for your classes. If you're enrolled full-time, it's going to cost about $2,600. The figures that you see here for Mason, Tech, Madison, VCU, and UVA are just for tuition only. That is the cost to take classes. It does not include textbooks. It does not include housing. It does not include transportation, a meal plan, any of that. It is just their tuition and fees. The NOVA tuition does include, or that we're showing here, which is our in-state tuition, does include what we call our all-access textbook and material fee. We realized that students were not purchasing textbooks or materials until several digital materials until several weeks into the semester. With our all-access textbook and material fees, this guarantees that students have access to physical textbooks and digital materials on or before the first day of class. There are some classes that do not have any textbook or materials fees. However, that textbook or the all-access fee is charged based on the credit hour. What we have found, though, is that students are still saving on average 25 to 30% per semester on the cost of books and materials, even if their course does not have a textbook or materials fee. Students do have the option to opt out of this. If they do, it is their responsibility to source all textbooks and materials. All right. We talked a little bit earlier briefly about the FAFSA, or the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. For the 26-27 school year, that application has already opened. We do encourage students and families to complete the FAFSA, regardless of whether or not you think you would be eligible for federal student aid. The most common aid that students are familiar and families are familiar with is the Pell Grant, but the FAFSA can also include scholarships and student loans. Eligibility for the FAFSA is dependent upon family income, but the information that they are asking for is going to be from what they call prior year, meaning they are going to be asking you for the 26-27 school year to submit income taxes. I believe it is for the 2023 taxes that you filed. What you want to do is that if there has been a significant change in your family's income, is that once that FAFSA is submitted, you work with our Nova Financial Aid Office to let them know that you've had a change of status. And they then will review so that your aid would be based upon your current financial situation as of today. Additionally, the FAFSA determines if students are eligible for work-study jobs. These are similar positions to the Nova Corps intern positions. The payment for these just comes out of a different pool of money. Students, again, are limited to working only 20 hours a week, and the salary that they earn is paid directly to them. The VASA or VASA application, Virginia Application for State Aid, is for Virginians who have certain non-immigrant visas, are undocumented, or have DACA status. The biggest advice I can give with the VASA application is that once that application opens, I have not checked this week to see if it has opened, but that you go ahead and apply, because each school in Virginia is given a finite bucket of money for them to distribute. So basically the early bird gets the worm with this. So the sooner your name goes in the pot for this money, the sooner you would, or the more likely it is that you would be receiving some funds. It is a fixed amount that is awarded for each year. With scholarships, the money is out there. Students just need to apply. For our graduating seniors in Fairfax County, there are a number of scholarships that are just that you as students are eligible to apply for. Please work with your college and career centers at your schools to look at those scholarships and apply for them. There will some that will be specific for majors. There will be some that will be specific schools, but please apply for those scholarships. It's really shocking at how much scholarship money goes unawarded each year because students just don't apply for them. Nova does have what we call institutional scholarships. We have a scholarship portal that opens 3 times a year. And for students who will be graduating in 2026, they will be eligible once they have applied to Nova to look at and apply for those scholarships in the May timeframe. That portal also opens again in August. Our application awards range from $500 rather to $2,000. Students basically submit one brief application and there's a short essay, and that makes them eligible for multiple scholarships. The other piece of advice I have for scholarships and what worked with my children was to have just spend about an hour a week looking at scholarships. They created a spreadsheet where they entered the name of the scholarship they applied for, the date they applied for it, the date the scholarship should be awarded, and what the amount was. It was a great way to kind of take something that most students don't want to do and chunk it out and not make it such a daunting task. Even if a scholarship requires an essay, do not shy away from it. A student has typically written something and written an essay for something else that they can use for scholarship essays. Last but not least, after all aid has been awarded, if there is a balance on your account, those can be paid if you have had a 529 college savings plan. Students can pay a balance at one time, or Nova does offer a payment plan. This is through a third-party vendor called Nelnet. They are a legitimate company. I've used it for my daughter's tuition, and it basically is a zero interest loan. You pay a small setup fee. Per semester, I believe it's like $35. And then your tuition is divided into smaller monthly payments. Basically, you pay them and they pay us. Just want to share some additional resources for non-citizens who are looking for financial aid. Nova participates in the National Scholarship under the Dream US Scholarship Program. That application will open November 1st. There's also the Esperanza Educational Fund, which provides 6 scholarships for students in the DC, Maryland, and Virginia area. And last but not least is the Moldoff Scholarship Resource Guide. This is a comprehensive scholarship listing that includes many that do not inquire about immigration status or require a valid Social Security number. Anyone can access this scholarship resource guide, much like FastWeb or Scholly or scholarships.com. Again, it is a comprehensive listing of scholarships. Last but not least, when it comes to scholarships, you should never have to pay to apply for a scholarship, nor should you have to pay to search for scholarships. When applying to NOVA, we do want students to be aware that we do not have an application fee. We also do not require SAT or ACT scores. We use a student's GPA and the highest level math class that they've completed in high school for placement into classes. If a student is going to apply to NOVA, we encourage them to do that with one of our outreach and recruitment coordinators when they are at your high school to walk you through the application process. If you apply while you are logged into your high school's Wi-Fi and are on one of their IP addresses, you will be able to bypass what we call ID verification. The ID verification process is to ensure that you are a real student applying to NOVA. If you choose to apply from home or another location other than your high school, you will be asked to upload a government issue photo ID. You have to submit a copy of the front and the back. It needs to be a very clear, close up, kind of cropped picture. So if you're taking a picture, your phone needs to be like directly over it, not at an angle. And then you have to have access to a camera so that the system ID verification can do what they call a liveness check. So it is going to have you look into your camera, and it is going to verify that the picture that it is seeing is the same as the photo on your government ID. The application does take about 15 to 20 minutes to complete. You do need to have a Social Security number. If you don't, you can bypass that. You can check, I'd rather not provide that at this time. If by chance you are a permanent resident or your parent or guardian is a permanent resident, you will need to have that information as well to submit the application. Want to also provide you with my direct contact information. Please feel free with any question. If you have any questions, to email me. My email is my first initial and last name @nvcc.edu. And then it is also on this last slide that I am sharing with you, but we wanted to provide everyone with our outreach and recruitment coordinators and the campuses that we serve. We thank you so much for your interest in attending Northern Virginia Community College. We look forward to working with you and your students as you begin your college experience. Thank you. We're not hearing you speak.
Sorry about that. So
Quite all
thank
right.
you. Thank you so much, Colin. And thank you everyone for joining us for the NOVA, the community college option as part of the post-secondary virtual night event. Have a great evening.